All right, so as usual, got another surprise for you guys, and let's take a look at what I have over here. And we have this gigantic box from X-Shift Gearboxes out of the Czech Republic. Now, you probably could fit a complete gearbox in this box, but that's not what's in here. It is actually parts for a gearbox. So let's open this box up and see what's hiding inside. Alright, so I've got everything out here later on the workbench. I didn't want to bore you guys with the whole process of unwrapping everything just so I could show you what's going on. So if you don't already know what you're looking at, this is a full sequential gearbox kit. This is the X-Shift Subaru Plus sequential gearbox kit. And I figured, let me give you a quick rundown on some of the parts and exactly what's going on here. So let's start with the shift lever. So the shift lever is a CNC machined billet aluminum shift lever. You'll see here that it's got this wire coming out of it, and basically inside behind this carbon fiber panel is a load cell sensor. And essentially what that does is it's going to send a signal to the ECU, and basically anytime you want to shift gears, it'll detect movement of the shift lever, sends a signal to the ECU, and then you can do either a fuel or ignition cut. And that's just going to make shifting in between gears a lot easier, as obviously you're not using a clutch. Also on the shift lever here, you'll see this little red lever, and that is just your reverse lockout lever. If you want to put the transmission into reverse, you'll need to pull this up. And of course, the benefit of that is not accidentally going into reverse while you're moving forward. Here you have the CNC machined base plate that the shift lever is going to attach to, and that basically you have a dowel pin here that unscrews from the base plate that will go through the center of this bearing, and that attaches the shift lever to the plate, and then the plate will get installed into the car. Here we have the main output shaft and input shaft with all of the gears already pre-assembled by X-Shift. This is a custom gear ratio that I also went with for my car. You might also notice that everything has a very, very shiny finish to it. And that is because all of these components have been REM isotropic, super finished. And basically what that means is everything's been treated with a certain type of coating and process, which makes everything very, very smooth, which is gonna help with shifting. You're gonna get very smooth shifts. It's gonna keep the friction down to a minimum. And it's also a good heat treatment process. And again, it's just going to extend the life and durability of the gearbox. Here we have the selector forks, and these slide onto these collars here. And these are the collars which slide back and forth, which determines what gear position you want to be in. Here we have the sick billet aluminum CNC machined center plate. This actually attaches between the bell housing and the gearbox. And there are a couple more selector shafts that I haven't taken out of the box that will get installed in these positions here. But you've got 3 selector shafts. The shift forks will go on these different selector shafts. And then here you have the selector barrel. And you know, anytime you go to make a shift, it's gonna rotate this barrel and the selector shafts all in unison. And you notice these really weird grooves on the barrel here. Each one of these grooves represents a gear. So as you make a gear shift, it's going to rotate the barrel, rotate the selector shaft, and then it's going to put collars into a position in order to select the appropriate gear you want to be in. You'll also notice that there is another wire coming out of the center plate here, and that is because there is a gear position sensor hiding underneath the selector barrel. And that's just going to send a signal to the display to let it know what gear the gearbox is in. So that's kind of a quick rundown on how all this stuff works and how a sequential gearbox works somewhat. As most of you know, I do have a dog box in the car right now. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I've wanted to go to sequential for a few years now, and I figured now's the time. So that dog box is coming out of the car. It is for sale. If any of you guys are interested, hit me up. And it's time to build this new gearbox. And obviously I'm not doing it myself because this kind of stuff takes delicate tools and delicate alignment and everything. So I'm gonna box all of this stuff back up, and we're gonna head down to New Jersey to RalliSpec, and my buddies down there are gonna build the new gearbox for me. So let's get this all boxed up and head down to Jersey and talk about what's next. What's up, guys? I'm out here in New Jersey at RalliSpec. The guys here just built my new sequential gearbox for the car. Let's take a walk inside and see how it turned out. here. What's up, Vince?
Oh, hey. What's up, man? How goes it?
Pretty good. This is my buddy Vince. I actually met this dude down in SEMA at the Hoonigan Burn Bash a couple years back. And this is one of the guys here who assembled the X-Shift sequential gearbox for the car.
Just say, if you want some really accurate information on this guy, we'll introduce Jody. Jody's our lead gearbox tech here.
What's up,
What's
Jody?
up, guys? How are ya? So this is X-Shift Gearbox. Obviously, I've been talking about it.
You can break down all the details for us.
Yeah. That we have built for Mike. It's a Cusco front one-way LSD. It is a 390 final drive with a 1-to-1 transfer gear. So we use a 390 rear diff. It also has a standard 04-05 clutch type center diff. And that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it, eh? Anything you can mention regarding the X-Shift sequential kit inside?
The X-Shift is actually really, really nice. We know it was fairly new, you know, on the market or whatever, and it's, as far as installation wise, it's pretty straightforward, as you see on some of the other parts of the video. It's a pretty, like I said, straightforward installation. We do a lot of synchro boxes, dog boxes, sequential boxes.
Yeah.
We do it all here. So
Awesome. That's why I came to you guys. So.
It's just another one of these. We obviously got the case vapor honed and cleaned up, so made sure that there was no issues with that one to look good as well as perform well. And that's it. So hopefully Mike will have a good time with it and the car will perform.
Looking forward to getting in the car and banging some gears.
Yeah,
that's
for
the
sure.
plan. That is the plan.
For sure. So
yeah.
that's what we got. Should be
Awesome.
awesome.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
See ya.
Hell yeah.
All right, so these guys actually filmed the video, bit of a time-lapse explanation video of the entire X-Shift sequential kit and all the breakdowns of all the specific parts and how everything works. So I'll show you guys that video clip right now.
What's up, guys? This is Vince from RalliSpec. I'm here with Matt Steedle. Matt Steedle Transmissions, X-Shift, super nice setup.
Which is tremendously different in strength. Then you get into how they were able to do this is they basically pocketed the inside of the gear for its engagement, its dog engagement. So this would be like a female and a male lug, and they lock in, right? And they come around on the catch. They are undercut.
The dogs and the undercut.
Okay, so these have a more pronounced, like a more angular undercut to help retain them in gear under acceleration. So they kind of go in and interlock, and then under load, it's to try to prevent them from popping out of gear as the lug wears. Also, this has 360 degrees of splines to maintain support on the slider. Also, you got to remember, when you are in gear, this gear now becomes one and it's driven. The contact is made to the slider, and the slider and the gear, when it's being driven, is now turning your shaft. Well, it's relying on full support and splinage all the way around. The X-Shift has all the pocketing done in this intermediate plate. So basically, this becomes a lighter unit, the shift drum design. It's a much larger shift drum. If I were to give my opinion, I believe that this would probably be more accurate or more consistent. They also drilled it to lighten it throughout. So though it is larger, its rotating mass has been reduced. I think this is a great design. The shift forks on the X-Shift, you have 2 selections done on the driven shaft. So you have your 1-2, your 3-4, and your 5-6 is on your main shaft. 2 female style sliders and 1 male style. So
All right, guys, so that sums up the sequential gear sets that we're putting together. So stay tuned for assembly videos.
back home in Canada with the brand new X-Shift Subaru Plus 6-speed sequential gearbox. I just want to give a huge shout out to X-Shift Gearboxes again for sponsoring me and my build. Without them, I probably never would have been able to put a sequential gearbox in this car. And a huge shout out to the boys at RalliSpec for putting this gearbox together. They did an absolute phenomenal job. And I cannot wait to get this thing in the car and finally bang some gears. But until then, I've got a few other things I've got to do before it's ready to get installed. As you can see, I've got a brand new TSS Fab transmission cross member mounted to it. Just taking a couple measurements, and I may or may not have to weld some brackets to it. And I've got a few other surprises lined up for this gearbox before it's ready to go in. And you're just gonna have to wait and stay tuned for a future video, and hopefully it won't be too long from now. But until then, thanks again guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and I will see you in the next video.